What's up, everyone? The Prof has come back to YouTube. See if you know that reference for all you wrestling fans out there. I'm sure there's somebody out there who will get what that's from or who said something pretty similar to that back in the day. But how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a great day. I am Prof Sales. Welcome to the Prof Sales channel. It is Wednesday, July 19th, 2017, and we're off and running with another show. Let me know if my audio is good in the live chat. I'm sure it probably is, but I always like to check. And as always, leave me comments and questions with the word question written in big caps in the live chat, or question mark, question mark, question mark, and a question. Or leave a question after this video is over. You can leave it in the comments, and I will do my best to answer it. So how's everybody doing out there? I hope you're having a great, awesome middle of the week. It's Wednesday. For some people, that's the halfway point of the week. But when you're an entrepreneur, it's another day. It's another day to go out there and have great results. So that's where we're at today. Car and I have already had our big, huge walk in this morning. We walk, how far we walk, Car? It's almost 4 miles, right? I think so. And it's nice. A lot of it's in the shade and so on, which is really cool, which we really enjoy as the summer heat comes on. And, you know, it's just a great way to start the morning. Get out there, get the blood flowing, you know, breathe in deep, get a little sweat going on, and just put foot to pavement and walk it out. Lots of cool nature and wildlife along this particular walk. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. But today we have a, I don't know if you call this a special topic. As some of you know, I've started talking about niches on eBay and what you can, you know, sort of find or not find in terms of how to go about investigating and researching a niche. So today I thought we would talk about video games. Now, why video games? Well, okay, 100% confession here. I am not really much of a video game seller. I have sold them in the past, but it's not something I do all the time. So I'm going to learn a few things today too. And I know some of the people in the chat are probably video game sellers. And if you have comments or questions or whatever you want to add, please feel free in the chat. I will definitely shout them out and shout you out. If you see me say something, if you hear me say something it's not quite totally correct, please let me know. It'll be much appreciated. But I'm going to show you how I would approach reselling in the video game niche. And I don't even know if you can call it a niche. It's kind of like a niche with a lot of sub niches. So we will definitely get into some of those. We'll do some screen shares here in just a moment and get into that and make sure that, you know, we have a good feel for how you would go about researching this particular topic. So, all right, video games have obviously been around for many decades now. And there's a lot of gamers out there. The interesting thing is a lot of the gamers that are out there are in like their mid-20s to 30s. They're not kids necessarily. Kids do play video games, but it's often adults with disposable income who are now in the working world to buy video games, video game systems, certain series and so on, bring out a new game every year, and they just sell, you know, tens of thousands, about hundreds of thousands of copies a lot of times. And it's just really quite the cash cow for some of these video game makers, as well as the console makers. So definitely a market you can find a lot of value in. You can find a lot of great deals in, and they're plentiful in most areas of the country. If you're here in the States, some of the other countries, Canada, UK, I'm not as sure about, but I would imagine you're going to be able to find video games all around you in a variety of places, whether it's Craigslist or local selling groups or, you know, yard sales and state sales often have video games. I mean, they are everywhere. They are not just for kids. So definitely something you can find in plentiful supply. I think, at least that's been my experience. And if you have a different experience in the chat, let me know. But let's go ahead and do a quick screen share, and I will show you guys what it would look like if I was going to go on and start searching for video games and figuring out, kind of what the best ones to buy are and how I would go about doing it. So let's go to, we will do screen share. And we're going to look at a standard eBay screen here that if you just log into eBay, it's going to look something like this. And I would just start up here at the top bar and I would type in video games. Now, notice here, there's already a couple breakdowns that eBay is giving us. Games and game consoles. Now, we're going to focus just on the games, but game consoles can be very profitable as well. But I'm going to focus on games for a few reasons, and mainly because video games themselves are easy to ship. They're very light. Many of them can go first class, so they're not expensive. And like I said, they're plentiful. And they're often, I don't know what other people would say in the chat, but I often find I don't even have to test games. If I look and I see the disc, if it's a disc, for instance, is perfectly smooth, there's no scratches, I kind of assume that it's going to be okay and it's going to work fine. If it does have scratches, that would be a game you might have to test, but that's just kind of how I do it. If somebody has a different method, you can let me know in the chat if that makes sense or not. All right. So we see here that there are 2.5 million results for video games. So obviously a good size market on eBay, and they're broken out by platform. I'm going to zoom in a little here so you guys can see this a little better. You've got Microsoft Xbox One, you've got GameCube, NES, the Wii, PC games, Sony PlayStation. There's some other too. There's Microsoft, the Xbox and Xbox 360. And you can see kind of the size of the market. Like, I'm going to look at the platform here for a second and just kind of look at how big this market is. And, not a huge page here. You can see like PlayStation 3 is 110,000. PlayStation 2 has actually got more games than that, 153,000. PS4, 54,000. Xbox 360, 103,000. Xbox One, 34,000. So you can kind of get an idea about how big these markets are. Those are going to be some of your big players. There's some other niche ones that are big too. Nintendo, of course, is large, has a large platform. You've got NES with 55,000, Super NES with 24,000. So you can kind of get an idea here about how big these markets are by looking at the brand list. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to zoom in on PlayStation 3 just for fun here. And we see that there's 138,000 games here, results. Now, these are in all different by release years. You have some category over here. You also have by rating. You also have by genre, action, adventure, arcade, battle. So again, you can kind of see here like the size of these markets and whether or not, there's a lot of viability. And I'm like, battle doesn't have a very large market, which means it's probably pretty niche-y. Still might be some value in there, but you're probably going to find more games in some of these other markets for PS3 just on the face of it. And I'm going to go and look at the new to used ratio. So right here we see that new is 50,000 and used is 88,000. And that's kind of interesting to me because that means, new is about 40% of the market and used is about 60%. And that's interesting because that means, there is value in the used market, which is a lot of what you're going to find. It is bigger, but it's not dominant by any means. A lot of people obviously like to sell the new games on eBay, and that's worth checking out. But let's check out just the used market. And so now we're into used, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to look at completeds. So we have right down here, we have this show only completed listings. Now the great thing about completed listings is it's going to show us sold as well as ones that did not sell. So we see 99,000 have sold here. I think this is probably within the last 90 days. And we can start getting an idea about sell-through, guys. We've done this in other videos. This particular list will show us, I think I have it set up to show, yes, 100 items per page. So if we count down here, we can kind of get an idea about some sell-through percentages. So everyone that's black is not a sold. That did not sell. And everyone that's green is a sale. So we've got 100 listings on this first page. So we can go down and kind of get an idea about sell-through in general if we just count the green. So there's one. That's not really a game, so I'm not going to count that. 2, 3, 4. We have, that's not a game either. 5. You got to watch some of these. Some of these are not the best about them being actual games. 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh, there's not a lot of PS3 selling here lately. 5. That's an actual console. 6. People sometimes put these in the wrong category. 7. 8. That's a gaming console. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's actually that's just one game. I thought it was more than that. And 14. So the sell-through was somewhere around 14% on this first page. Now that may or may not be a true number, but I would start, thinking about, man, it's not a super lot of sell-through here. So I need to figure out, why did these other games not sell? Was it an issue with pricing? Was it with their photographs? Was it with their listing specifics? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at this game right here, this sale, and if this is anybody's, that's interesting. That'd be pretty funny. Okay, so this person had an item condition, and video games are going to have different conditions of like excellent and good and very good. And eBay has a list in there about what that means, what those conditions means. They even have in here in the seller condition, no booklet and sticker residue on the case. So I would take that to mean that there is no booklet and there is sticker residue on the case. It's not grammatically clear here what they meant. The cool thing about eBay is a lot of times when you scan in a barcode, it's going to pre-fill all this detailed info here. You're not going to need to put that in, but you are going to need to put in your condition, obviously. And you're going to need, it's even got reviews for this particular game, how good people thought it was. And I'm going to go into their listing a little closer here and see what they actually did. So they sold it for $7.99 now with free shipping. So you might be thinking that's not a lot of money, and it's not a lot of money. But they probably didn't pay much to ship this. The shipping cost was maybe $2.75, maybe $3, just depending on weight. Not sure if these can go media mail. If anybody knows or not, I don't think they can, but I could be wrong on that, which would lower your cost even more. So probably not a lot of profit here. They probably, assuming they got the game really cheap, let's say they got the game for $1 and they paid $3 to ship it. They probably only made about $3.25 in profit on this game after their cost of goods and their eBay fees. That's assuming they got it really cheap. So games like this, and I don't know if this is a good price for this particular game, but games like this would be kind of a mass, quantity play sometimes, because a game like this obviously doesn't go for, a lot of money. If this is a true price, you're not going to make a lot on any one game. So you got to flip a lot of games. So let's look back at some others that maybe I'm going to actually sort this list. I'm going to have a little fun here and do it by highest first and just see kind of what's out there on the high end. Oh, wow. These are some crazy prices here now. So some of this is actually not gaming or not games. I need to find. Here's some lots that sold with a PlayStation 3. Well, they were up for sale, $9.95. They didn't get any bids. 48 games. It might be decent. Here was a huge. This is an area of opportunity too. So, and wow, here's a game that sold for $815. We'll get into that, but let me look at this huge lot here first. So this particular listing had private lot listing. So it was a bunch of games. Looks like it's about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 games maybe. So, pretty high price there, $800 if it was just for 18 games. Private listing for friends only. That's kind of interesting. Looks like these games might be a little rarer. Just kind of looking at some of the titles, and they're mixed in with PS3 and PS4. But lotting games together is another way that you can make money in this market, for sure. So Lotting is definitely something you want to check out. I want to see why this game supposedly here sold for $815. It says it's like new. So, okay, so it's in great condition if it's like new. Maybe somebody in the chat will know why this particular one sold for this much. It looks like there's even some box wear. And you're going to need to take prices of boxes, guys, and so on. Sometimes if you see things like this, because, you know, that's important to people if they're getting the box too. It's essentially brand new. Yeah, I don't know why this game so much. So if anybody knows in the chat, why in the world would this game be worth so much money? I have no idea. And Karin, do we have this game? Because this is nuts. We do have this game, so maybe we need to sell this game. But you know, that's crazy. Some of the other prices you see down here too. Some of these, like I said, are consoles. There's a wireless lot of controllers. And the great thing about when you bash things together in a batch like this, guys, you can save on shipping because you're not shipping, you're shipping multiple items, but you can put them in one or two big boxes. So sometimes you can make a lot of money like that. I'm not going to say that's the case all the time. Some jailbroken games, has something to do with, you know, whether or not they can be modified and things like that. And some of this is just gaming consoles as well. So a lot of great games there. Is that the same game? We need to find.
The box on that game you looked up had post-apocalyptic. It must be a special.
And it said pandemic or something too. So it's a little different. Yeah. So so looking through these guys, you can see there's a lot of opportunity here. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second so I can go back to the. Yeah. So I'm gonna look at. I probably missed a few questions here and there. Maybe it's a black diamond. That's funny. Yeah, I was just saying, because we actually have the game, but we don't have the pandemic version. So, you know, I think with video games, guys, there's like, obviously certain games are worth more than others. I remember selling some old PS2 Karin had, some old PS2 games Karin had not too long ago. And they were, one of them went for like $70. I mean, it was crazy, like a PS2 game. This game was probably 15 years old. So it was strange. It was unusual. I'll think of the game here in a minute. But anytime you can find those collector's editions, they can go for tremendous money sometimes. And some of the niche, I found too, maybe some people in the chat can comment on this. Some of the niche, basically, some of the niche gaming systems can have great value. Somebody was talking about Saturn, the Saturn gaming system. I think that has some strong sales, I believe. And only because, you know, people, there's like these gaming systems out there that aren't made very much anymore. And then people want them or things break on them and they're kind of out of luck. So they have to buy a new system or else, you know, and they'll pay a higher premium for them. So anyway, that's, you know, kind of my thoughts on video games. I would also say that you really need to, the great thing about video games, you can scan the barcode on the back if they have the box and find out very quickly what they're selling for. It's not like clothing where you have to sort of type in what it is and figure out if it's the exact one. It's barcoded. You know, like these PS3 games have a barcode right here. I'll get it right. So, and most video games do. Xbox does as well. I believe Nintendo does as well. So you can scan those. You also, I would say, too, have more sources of supply. Sometimes clearance games at the big box retail stores can be really great finds. And you can get multiple quantities because if you go in and you find a game that's been marked down to $8 and is selling for 30, they might have 15 copies of it, you know. So you're just going to buy one, make one listing, keep them all, sell them off as they go. And it sort of depends. Like a lot of the games you're going to find like in the big box retail stores, you know, are not going to be really that profitable. That's for sure. But you can find them there, as well as, of course, this is one of the techniques I like to do the times I have bought video games. If you go to a yard sale or a estate sale where someone is selling video games, maybe consoles, maybe games, maybe both, try to make, if you can find several games there that are worth it, try to make an offer that to buy it all, because you're going to get a much better price You know, if they've got $5 listed on all their games and they got, you know, 20 games, that's $100. And you can say to them, hey, I'll give you, you know, $50 for all of them. You've just cut your cost in half for each one of those games. And you can go and, you know, some of those games are going to be winners, some are not going to be winners. But now your cost of acquisition is so much lower that you don't have to getting your money back, because you're going to get your money back just because, you know, you bought so cheap at $250 a game for, you know, and you want to look them through and make sure they're in good condition. Hopefully they have the manuals. They call it complete in box, I think, where CIB, where they has the case, the manual, the disc, and anything else that may have come with it if it had additional stuff. Often these games will have codes that'll come with them too for special offers. Often those codes will be expired if they're older games, so they're not really worth, you know, you can't say, hey, it's got the code to download free content. It might still be viable and it might not. So, you know, you probably don't want to list it as, hey, it's got the code. Well, you don't know if it can be downloaded or not. But so I would be careful. I'd be cautious about putting that in your listing if you do go in the video game market, just in my limited experience. But yeah, buying them in bulk is truly the way to go if you can. Buying one-offs is going to be tricky unless you know for a fact that that game is really valuable. You've looked it up and it's worth paying, you know, kind of the top price the person wants for it. And a lot of people who are just wanting to get rid of video games, guys, they're going to want to get rid of them for like $5, $10 the most. They don't want to sit there and haggle over, you know, most people at yard sales and estate sales, I find, for instance, don't have video games priced way up. They've got a bunch of them out there. They just want to get rid of them. Make an offer for all of them. You know, you can probably make money on virtually all of them if you can get them cheap enough. So just, you know, I would make one offer and say, hey, I'll take all of them off your hands. I did that with a guy. He lives actually in our neighborhood. It was last year at a yard sale, and he probably had 55 games. I think I ended up buying them for like $110, $115, just over $2 a game. And there were some great ones in there that made money. There were some that were not as good too, but I definitely way more than made my money back and made some good profit on it. So anyway, but I hope that was helpful. I am not a video games expert, but I like going through these niches. If you are a video games expert and you would like to come on the show and do a collaboration about buying and selling video games, maybe some screen share, maybe some video time, send me an email, profsales44@gmail.com, profsales, PROFSALES, 44@gmail.com. And that's also in the links to the description down below. And you can find that contact info as well as a lot of other helpful stuff. So let's see. People are in the chat. Hey, Bob Weiss, how are you, my friend? I met Bob this past week. He is awesome. Has a tremendous outlook on life and a great story that I just love. All right. So, yeah. So, and if I missed any questions or anything, I know I at least missed one or two, and maybe Karen got them. She's my question answerer. Yeah, The Last of Us is her game. Yeah, I know. She loves that game. Yeah, let me know. Just type the question over if I missed it, guys. My apologies. I couldn't see any of the chat when I was doing the screen share, obviously. All right. Just a reminder, we are coming on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. East Coast is the best. Sorry for all you people not here on the East. No, I'm just kidding. But it is 2 o'clock Eastern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we come on with a different type of show each day. And, you know, it's Flipper Joe says, I'll take a picture of my video game section of my warehouse. You'll pass out. Well, Flipper Joe, you should come on the show and share it with everybody and not just me. Yeah, but each day we have a general topic we talk about. Niches is on Wednesday. Friday is usually how to sell on eBay successfully. And Monday is usually eBay 101. All right. Couple other things I wanted to cover today. Something happened with Karin earlier that was kind of interesting we wanted to talk about. So this is a different, you know, this is not on the video game topic, but so Karin got a she was talking to somebody about a business opportunity, or they had, you know, she was talking to them and they were calling with their questions and what have you. But it was interesting because Karin, and I could sort of hear the person through the phone, but not completely. And Karin was trying to explain, you know, hey, this is what is going on and what we have to offer and what you might be interested in. And the person, it was interesting. Before Karin was even finishing her sentences in a lot of cases, she was, the person was coming up with objections and reasons why what she said wouldn't work, which was kind of interesting to me because, you know, if you have a business opportunity and you've heard about from someone, you would think just on the face of it, you would want to go and talk to that person and listen and learn everything you could, and then ask questions and then make, you know, decisions, right? Once you've got all the information you can get. But it was just interesting because this person, as they were going along, was trying to decide, or was making a judgment on the opportunity without even having all the facts. And it was nothing that Karin did or said wrong or anything like that. It's just a person, I think, had a preconceived notion once they heard something. And it just reminded me that of this simple truism, you know, don't assume that you know what will work. I mean, you're a reseller, you're an entrepreneur, and you've got all these opportunities in front of you that you can do, different directions you can go. And some are going to be better for you than others for all kinds of reasons. But you honestly don't really know what's going to work for you in the vast majority of cases until you try it. You really don't. And I think so many times we hear about these opportunities that are put in front of us. Maybe it's a sourcing opportunity. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe it's selling on social media, whatever it is. And you think, that's not going to work because of A, B, and C. Well, how do you know? I mean, you haven't tried. You know, I mean, if you're interested in something and someone's got information for you, then listen and hear them out and then make decisions, you know, ask questions, whatever you want to do. But I just think, like, you really have to approach situations with, all right, let me think about reasons why this will work instead of reasons why it won't work. Because you can tell yourself almost anything, that you can tell yourself virtually anything and everything won't work. And our business history, like in this country, in the United States, the history of capitalism and entrepreneurialism in this country has numerous examples of people who started companies or had ideas and were told it wouldn't work, and it did. And sometimes it didn't work right away or didn't work the way they thought, but so many people, you know, were told, your idea stinks, it's not going to work, you're not going to be able to make that happen, blah, 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 and then they did. And, you know, I just think that if you start off with this attitude that every time you're exposed to something new, that it's going to be terrible, it's not going to work for you, you're pessimistic, guess what? That becomes so self-fulfilling that 99 times out of 100, it won't work for you, because your mental approach is so wrong and so off that you've already defeated yourself and you haven't even started playing the game. And it just reminded me of that. I just thought it would be a good reminder for you guys today. You know, I forget that sometimes. I think, oh, I want to do this or do that, or sell this or sell that. Oh, I don't know if that'll be a good idea. I don't know if I'll go that direction. And I'll start defeating myself before I've really even thought it through. And I wonder, you know, how many opportunities did I miss just because I was defeated before I even got started by myself? You know, you're kind of your own worst enemy. And I just think it's important to remember that, you know, there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and you're going to have to expose yourself to a lot of them. And you're going to, and not all of them are going to work for you. Most of them are not going to work for you, but you don't know that at the beginning. You know, it's kind of like when you start a new job and you think from day one, you go in and something's just a little different than you're used to. And you're like, oh, this is just not going to work. It's going to be terrible. Like, you're in day one, just relax, give it a chance, you know? And I think it's a great lesson to remember in this reselling game and being an entrepreneur. You have to give things a good try. You have to give them your full attention, a full try out, to make sure that you've really exhausted all the possibilities If I had thought, you know, when I put my first YouTube video out and nobody watched, you know, I could have said, oh, this isn't going to work. Look, I put up a video and nobody really watched it. You know, Karin watched it, 1 view, and I watched it, 2 views, you know. I wouldn't have had a channel. I would just quit and given up right there, you know. So there's so many reasons why you have to stick things out, and persistence and perseverance is rewarded in life. Quitting and giving up is not rewarded. It just isn't. You know, nobody ever improved. For the most part, nobody ever really improves their life by quitting things. I mean, you know, you may, unless it's like you're quitting something that's destructive, but like if you're just going to quit on something before you get started, you're never going to be able to see how high you can soar. So I just want to share that with you guys. Anyway, Playhouse said the car broke down and very stressed, and then 2 hours later, new car. Yeah, I mean, cars break down, right? It happens. They're machines. It's all in your perception of it, you know. And maybe you just, you know, you say, well, all right, my car broke down. Big deal. I get a new car. I'm going to fix it or whatever. I mean, you do what you got to do with that. There's nothing else you can do. You can't just give up because you're something doesn't go your way. That's absolutely going to happen. Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. That's funny. It's a quote. I can't remember who said that.
I did.
You said it?
Yeah.
I've heard it before. Karin's taking credit for that quote. I'm pretty darn certain that's been said by somebody before. Can you get any good deals with the GameStop? Somebody asked that question. I don't know if we got an answer or not. They're going out of business. I don't know. Does anybody know about the GameStop going on a business sale? Is that going to be a good deal? I feel like GameStop is really tricky sometimes to make money on. Because, you know, they tend to hold the price a bit on those pre-owned games. It's been my experience. Now, someone else out there is a more experienced game seller, might have a different good used goods or Flipper Joe. You guys might have a different perception of that. And Henry Ford said it. Yeah, I think he was a little before you, Karin. And Bob's saying that Henry Ford said it. So we're going to go with Bob. All right. But yeah, is GameStop a viable opportunity for buying video games? Great question. I don't know the answer to that. Joe says he avoids them. You really have to know your niche to make money. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my feeling, that GameStop is in tune enough with the secondary market that you're not going to find a lot of value there. I think there probably are some games from time to time that, you know, maybe older games that come in and are, you know, the pre-owned games and from older systems and so on. There are crazy valuable PS2 games out there, guys. And PS2 is an older platform. I think it came out about 17 or 18 years ago. So in video game time, that's a lot. And I guess there's some other ones too. There's some older Nintendo Entertainment System games that are really valuable out there, the cartridges. But, you know, it's video games. I think you're going to hit a lot of base hits and the occasional home runs, just like with a lot of things. So I don't know that you need to spend all your time. You know, here's the thing. Like, let's say you walk into GameStop and they got a lot of pre-owned games, and that's going to be what you're going to focus on. You're literally going to need to go through and scan and look up virtually all of them when you start, because you're just not going to know. I mean, you could probably take some of them out of that mix and say, all right, they're pre-owned, but they're priced at $40. I don't know if they price them that high, but that's pretty high for a pre-owned game. So probably not much meat on the bone there, if any. Karin has a question about the resurfacing gizmo. Yeah, you can resurface gaming discs, CDs, DVDs. I have seen those being used before. I have not used them, but I do know that they do work pretty well. Apparently, I would assume they work for video games, but maybe someone else has some input on that. If they're resurfacing, there's these little resurfacing devices you can buy. Some are expensive, some are really expensive, some are cheaper. You know, they run the gamut. Reseller niche says it depends on the GameStop, but in their area, it's nearly impossible to make money as they match them up. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like too. But Good Use Good says to get rare games from pawn shops all the time. Now, that's a great point, because pawn shops, probably for the most part don't want to deal with video games. And pawn shops, I would also say, guys, are somewhere you could negotiate and get multiple games for a discount. That stuff just sits there, and they will sell them, but man, they sell slow in a lot of cases in pawn shops because most people aren't coming to pawn shops necessarily to look for video games. So you may be able to make them deals if they have more games than they have. I have not done it before, but I have talked to people who've said pawn shops can be a very awesome, a really good source of, you know, multiples of things like that. So again, look for a discount. You're buying in bulk. You know, they're averaging $5 a game or $3 a game. Try to get them lower. So yeah, Good Use Good says some of the $100 rare games can be found for $10. I mean, that's a great ROI. It's a great return on your investment. Flipper Joe has the JFJ, that's the name, JFJ Pro machines and the Blu-ray resurfacing, and they're really expensive, $1,800. So if you're going to do that, you know, you're going to go the big route like that, you need to really commit to this, and you know, you need to justify the expense of the machine. So you're going to have to, you know, go through some volume and really get there. So you might want to start off without that and then work towards that. You know, use your video game profits. The JFJ Pro is about $150, so there's a cheaper alternative. Yeah, $150 sounds a little better than $1,800. Woo, man, that's expensive. But I have seen those. Somebody did a video about those recently. I've seen those machines in action. And this was someone who was ungated and unrestricted on DVDs on Amazon. And so they were sending in massive amounts of them, and they were using that to resurface them when there was an issue. And it made sense in their business because they were doing, you know, bigger volume. So we should need to have a video game show. Like, there's all kinds of great comments here in the chat, and I can't cover them all, unfortunately. I'm trying my best, but we should do that. Speaking of that, some of you guys have been emailing in about the reseller rehab. So I have here's the format. I want to share this with you guys real quick. This won't take me a moment. So a week from Monday, we're slating the first one, which would be July 30 or July 31st. We're planning to do the first one of these, and we are still looking for people to bring into these. I've had 2 or 3 people. I've had several people email me. 1 or 2 have emailed me back, but we're still looking to finalize that. We need people who are willing to come on camera, to come on a YouTube. Here's your chance, guys. You want to be a star, or I don't know if maybe that's not you know, an encouragement, but to come on, and we are going to dissect your business. Me and 2 other resellers are going to help you dissect your business and hopefully plow through some of your challenges. This could be somebody who's brand new. It could also be somebody who's been selling for a little bit and maybe just reaching some sticking points. So we're going to try to help you get through these. But you need to be able to have a camera and a microphone, some way to come on the internet. People need to be able to see you. I would like to say we could do it without you on camera, but it really doesn't connect the same way people like to make that connection to a face. So if you're interested in that, email me, profsales44@gmail.com. We're going to try to do them maybe every other week is kind of the schedule we have in mind, but it's kind of going to depend. And, you know, so come on the show. Even if you've been selling a while and you're just hitting sticking points, you know, I hit them, we all hit them. Let's talk it through. We're gonna do our best to help you. You know, we're going to try to dissect the problems you're having and come up with actionable steps for you to take that you can move forward in your business and move forward with what you want to do. So again, hit me up with an email for that. If you're willing to come on camera, if you're willing to come on with a microphone, maybe your computer will be fine. We can talk about all that. But we need you to email in so we can keep building up sort of the list of people there. I think I have like 5 or 6 so far. So that'll be cool. And like I said, 2 other resellers, not going to name them yet. They're going to help me do this. So you're going to have a panel of 3 people. You have a panel of 3 people that will help you dissect your business and come up with solutions to the challenges you're having. But you have to be able to come on camera and have a microphone. We have to be able to see you and hear you. So it's not that hard, I promise. It really isn't. And it's not nearly as scary as you think, because it's just like you're talking to 3 other people. It's not like you're, you're talking to everybody all at once. So let me know, send me emails on that. Any other questions too, leave them in the chat about the topic. It can be about anything really, any other content too. Any other questions you have about other things, you know, that are going on in the reselling world right now. I know it's summertime and everybody's kind of like, blah, when can fall? Hurry up and get here so that we can, you know, start blowing this stuff out. You know, it'll be fun. So, what do you, Karin and Lauren are having their own conversation here. I was trying to read some of the chats here. Lauren, are you talking to me or are you talking to Karin? I'm not even sure.
Me.
Oh, she's talking to Karin. All right, whatever. Would you stop distracting the people in the chat? Just kidding. Yes. So, what else do I got on here? Yeah, I need my sidekick back too, guys. So if you guys want to like pressure Karin into coming back on camera, I don't know why she's being camera shy this week. I'm not really sure why, what's going on there, but she's just having a thing. But she hasn't been on the show now in a week, so we're feeling her loss. She's literally sitting like 10 feet away from me. So, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, so hopefully you guys, you know, hopefully you found some value in the content today and being able to come on to a different niche. I'm going to try to do these niche videos once a week. We got some other ones we got lined up, and I really would like to have, I know it's kind of a tricky time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I really would like to have people come on and join me for these niche shows. So I would like to have people who are willing to come on and talk, and we will research a niche together, and we'll talk about, you know, we'll do some screen shares and so on. We'll talk about the niches as we go and your experience in it. So if you have experience in a niche, you know, something you like to sell in, a particular type of product, no limits on niches. That's funny. So please let me know. And again, you can send me an email, profsales44@gmail.com. We can make it happen. It's not hard to do. It's actually very easy to come on to these Hangouts, guys. They are really, really a lot simpler than you think. And I would like to do that too. It's always cool to have a second person there, have a second opinion, especially somebody who really knows that niche, and to see if this researching is working right. I feel like if you want to research a new niche or you want to sell in something else, rather than just going out and randomly scanning things or looking things up all the time, I mean, you can certainly do that. I just think that on some level, that can be kind of a big time suck and you really don't know what you're doing. I think it's far better to do some research at home and then go out into your sourcing opportunities with some ideas about what you're looking for. And then you kind of have an eye for it. And you might find other things while you're out there too that you do absolutely want to check out while you're out. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I could tell you guys, when I first started looking at jean brands, I had 7 brands that I was looking for. And the way I got those 7 brands was I went on eBay and I'm like, all right, just show me the biggest 7 brands for the most part that I think will be with some decent sell-through prices. And so I started out and I went out there and I just started looking for those, and I would find them, and I would find various ones within those that were even better. And from that, I would start adding on brands, you know, because if I go out and I told you, you know, hey, just, you know, go out and find every type of video game you can that'll make money for you. I mean, that's not really possible. That's not feasible. You're going to spend so much time. Whereas instead, if you said, all right, well, you know, anime horror games for the PS2 are really valuable given my research. Now you're going to know when you see one of those covers for the PS2, it's like, I should probably look that game up, or horror games in general, because those were desirable and tend to sell for higher prices. So you kind of got an idea because you've done some research on the front end. I just think that you definitely want to go out there and, you know, have an idea about some things that you can find. Maybe it's 7 genres or brands, or however your particular niche is broken out. Maybe it's 10 or 12. You can make a list. You can take the list with you. You can refer back to it. The first few times you're going to do this, it's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be hard. You can't give up on it. You got to persevere, because every niche that you're going to focus on is going to be like that to some degree. It's going to be hard at first. You know, you're not going to just walk out and find, you know, 6 Robert Grahams in a row like I did once at a Goodwill. I didn't know that Robert Graham was valuable. Like, if I had found those Robert Grahams 3 months earlier, I wouldn't have bought them, because I didn't know they're valuable at that moment. Could I have looked them up? Yeah, but there's like 600 shirts there with all kinds of brands. I can't look up every brand. It'd be ridiculous. So it was better to do some research and learn on the front end and say, all right, I know these brands are valuable, so I will look for them. And if I see something else that looks similar to them, I might look that up too. Same thing with video games. You're like, all right, these consoles, these particular sub niches within these consoles tend to do well. Obviously, new is better than pre-owned if you can get it for the right price. You know, things like that, guys, that sort of make common sense. And just like I did with jeans, you know, new with tags. There's jeans that I will buy new with tags and I won't buy not new with tags. Like Arizona jeans. If I can find Arizona jeans new with tags, men's, I'll buy them. If they're pre-owned, not so much, because they usually don't sell for that much, even the men's ones. So, you know, that's kind of something I've learned over time. Hey, you know, new is better than pre-owned, right? I mean, we all kind of know that. But I think that you just have to be willing to put in the time and the research to learning more about your niche and whatever niches you want to get into. And you could get into more than one. You could say, hey, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to look at CDs, video games, and, you know, women's dresses like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Nothing wrong with that. Go out and look at all of them. You know, you've got your list. Like, I've got a list of 10 brands of dresses and 10 sub niches of video games and, you know, 10 genres of CDs or 5 genres of CDs I'm going to look for. And there you go. Like, you get started, you start learning, and then you're going to discard things. You're going to be like, this niche or this sub niche is not so great. And this category was not as what I thought it would be. And these over here were better than I thought. Didn't even know they existed. All those sorts of things are important, and they're just part of the process, guys. You can't skip those steps in my experience, or you're really missing something. So that's what I would encourage you to do. All right, guys. Well, check out the cards here at the end of the video that are coming up. And you can see another video after this one. They'll suggest another one. Leave me a comment down below. Smash the like button. Car's not here to say that. Smash the like button if you like the content. And leave me a question as well. I will do my best to answer it. And hit me up on email if you want to be on the Reseller Rehab show, or you'd like to do one of these niche shows with me as well live. It would be a lot of fun. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's show, guys. I will see you back on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is the plan. And as always, the Prof Sales saying good sales to you.